Okay, so this is my second time trying this. Hello, as at the time of recording, Sonic's birthday is 3 days away, but today, the day you're seeing it is going to be, well, today. So happy 35th anniversary. But yeah, I'm here to talk about why I love the Sonic series. I'm gonna try to keep this short, especially since, like I said, this is the second time. The first time was like fucking 27 minutes or something. So we're just gonna go down the list of stuff. All of these are things that I like about the series. We're going to go from the world and lore, the characters, the music, and the gameplay styles. So we're going to start with the world and the lore. What I like about the world and the lore, right, the thing that keeps me here is the lore itself is chaotic, but it's chaotic in a way that it still feels like all of it works together. Like there's just enough loose. It's kind of like how Dragon Ball story was. Where it was loose, but loose. It was. There was a lot happening, but all of it was loose ended enough that you could have things come later and still fit them together. That's essentially what the lore is for this. That's a really hard thing to do, and I think they're doing a really good job with it. Like that enables us to have all these different events happening in the same series. So like Frontiers is the example of this. We have the connection to Knuckles' whole clan and everything happening with the Master Emerald. And we have the connection to Chaos. And by proxy, because of all the things that get mentioned, we have Forces and Unleashed. So like all of that coming together, I really enjoy the simultaneous feeling of having things that can connect to each other and things that can stand alone on their own. Like you don't need the other things to enjoy what's happening in the moment currently, which is a route they could go down. They don't really go down it, even with their numbered games like Sonic Adventure 2. They aren't really sequels to each other. Like the closest you'll get is Frontiers to Forces, where all the events in Forces pretty much directly influence the stuff that happens in Frontiers. But yeah, so there's that, and then there's the world. Each era does something different, really. The classic era is a lot more surreal. It's these areas that really couldn't exist in real life, like the checkerboard dirt and striped grass patterns of Green Hill. The extremely complex, like even like anime structures, the extremely complex chemical plants and oil ocean zone that literally has parts of its platform dipping into the oil. There's places like Sonic 3, nice. Hydra City Zone was awesome. And even things that aren't really too different still have like this nice geometric, like shaped thing happening. And I think that is a really cool thing for classic Sonic. That it has, like, even if you do change the style, as long as you do that, it's pretty distinctly classic Sonic. Meanwhile, everything Adventure Onward is a lot more exaggerated. Like, the cities look like cities, but at the same time, they're so high that falling off anything is a bottomless pit, and they still have the loop-de-loops and corkscrews. So the biggest one is Unleashed. Unleashed does this because it's based off a lot of real life places, but then it still has the corkscrews. You're still running on walls. The springs are still there. There's still things that really shouldn't be falling the way that they are, like icicles and rocks, and you running across water and waterfalls. You do Dragon Road has like the dragon paths, and a couple of them open their mouths. Like we don't have anything like that here. But yeah, I think that both of these, like it's very easy, not just through the game, but through the environment, to be able to tell what's a classic Sonic area and what's a modern Sonic area. Even when you look at games that mix the two, like Sonic Generations, and even Lost World, really, because, like, okay, modern Green Hill, it has the checkerboard patterns and stripe patterns, but then most of it looks like a slightly more exaggerated version of a normal grassland. A lot of the surreal aspects, like the totems and trees, are subdued and drawn back, or their truly surrealist nature isn't on the screen all too much. So I think that, as the person who likes to draw, I don't like to call myself an artist. That feels like too much. I think that's a really cool aspect of the series. Characters, I like all the characters. Every single one of them has a unique backstory. Some are simple, like Tails. Some are not, like Shadow. And I think I like every character. I have my favorites, obviously: Sonic, Shadow, Amy, and Blaze. But I think they do a really good job. Even when it isn't the best, I think they do a really nice job. Because if nothing else, character interactions. And then there are times where they do the actual characters themselves well, and then the backstories are good. Like, the fact that two of the best characters added to the series recently were pretty much back to back is insane. And then we had Shadow Generations, which gave us actual characters for Maria and Gerald, and it makes the end of that game and everything that you know about the stuff that led up to Adventure 2 and Shadow the Hedgehog hit harder. Like, I really enjoy a lot of that. So yeah, that was the character. So I guess the next one is music. Music is, this doesn't really need all that much of an explanation, right? You can pretty much just pick a random track from every game's soundtrack, barring, I think, the Boom games and, like, Sonic Chronicles, and you can find something that's good to listen to. You'll have a good chance of landing on something. My speed paint video, which should come out before this, I think I'll do that one. I'll post that one Monday, and then the level video in this will be the Tuesday. But like that one, I had to struggle. Because I managed to get the whole drawing part. I took like a whole 3.5-4 hour drawing session, like drawing process, and shrunk it down to 15 minutes. Or around 15 minutes, and I was struggling because all the music's so good, and I don't want to use like stuff that's been used to death in the games themselves. I could only really get how many was it? Like 6 or 7 tracks into that video, and that's only because the classic Sonic ones are a little bit shorter. And then I used Gaia Gate, which is one of the shortest tracks in Unleashed that isn't like a jingle or something. So like it's really hard to choose. But if we really want to look at some of them, I like all the remixes from the Generations games are really good. Remix wise, they're the best. Frontiers' mix of EDM and like the stable, like soft but like lonely feeling open world music, and it changes depending on how many emeralds you have. Like Chronos Island Movement 5 is my favorite movement, I think, in the game, period. And that's completely ignoring like the Final Horizon stuff, where every character gets their own theme. Essentially, it's the movement things, but instead of emeralds, is when you play as certain characters. I'm Here Revisited is incredible, which says something because the original I'm Here was also just great. Then you got games like the classic Sonic game for all their pop influence stuff. That's incredible, all of it. 100 Cities incredible. Green Hill and Starlight, nice. Sky Sanctuary, Ice Cap, both the Sonic 3, like the original Genesis Sonic 3, and the remade betas version for Origins. I love both of those. Sonic 2, we got Oil Ocean. Hilltop Zone is weird, and that's great. Chemical Plant, we don't need to say anything about it. There's so much good music that I would be talking about every soundtrack and be here forever, and I'm trying not to. We're already at 10 minutes, so I'm looking to cut this off soon. But the main thing I'm here for is the gameplay. Now, if you saw the last video like this, which was around in February, my main thing was the lore in the world. Here, it's mainly just the gameplay, and it's because I'm a action-oriented person. I prefer for my reaction time to be and my own planning together to be what determines how well I do in a game, as opposed to the last one I did this for, which, you could plan stuff, but a lot of the time it's just luck. All of the games that I play, barring that one, well, at least until recently, are like that, where there's at least one way for my decisions to influence something, like what far past just choosing an attack and such. Sonic is the embodiment of that. Regardless of what playstyle it is, you're encouraged to get to the end and do as much as fast as possible. You are required to have a good reaction time. You are required to be able to, especially if you don't plan a pathway out before getting on a stage, you have to have good pathway planning, like as it's happening. 2D Sonic more focuses on it. It has physics, yes, but a lot of the time that's not really the main thing that you're really doing. It's something that helps you get a leg up in stages, but it's not like the main point. And I can prove that by saying when in the classic Sonic games was it required to use the momentum for anything? Most of the time, it's a set piece that it was going to force you through anyway. The only place I can remember that forced you to use it that wasn't a set piece was like an animation set piece was Spring Yard, because they had like the areas that would put you basically at the bottom of a ramp, a slope thing, and you had to get out like that. But otherwise, it's more like roll down these hills, you can go faster, but you still need the reaction time and stuff necessary to utilize it for, say, jumping off an incline and not getting stopped at a wall, stuff like that. And that plus the mechanics of the game, such as badnik bouncing and all that really increases the speed, and I love doing stuff like that. The adventure games and just that 10-year span from Adventure 1's original release in Japan to Unleashed's release in 2008, so 1998, 2008, yeah, around 10 years. They're all substantially different, but they're all essentially some form of translation of the 2D Sonic games into 3D. Whether it be the storybook games with their one path of fully relying on your reaction time and decision making for what you're going to be doing and when. You got Adventure 1, which is the most I guess the closest to being a one-to-one for 2D games, which is like usually they have a top and bottom path. They're a lot more open with a lot more platforming, and then a lot of the speed is more a set piece than anything. You got Adventure 2, which started the hallway type level design, which is more, which lends itself more to more constant speed, and really emphasizes reaction time. You got Heroes, which was also, I guess, kind of trying to do a little bit of both, but adding the team dynamic, which is using each character's abilities to get through a stage. And then you got 06, which honestly, if it was an actually good game, would have probably been tied with Adventure 1 for being, I guess, as close to a 3D version of a classic Sonic game as possible, purely by like gameplay and stage design. Like just the characters themselves with no upgrades. I mean, because when you add that other stuff, it's not close at all. Shadow's just Heroes, but with one character. So like, they all try to do that same thing. It's just different because of what's been added, what was removed. Because like, I think after Adventure 2, they really didn't do much with the physics part, which, I mean, they didn't do much in the first place, but that's noticeably missing. But yeah, they all try to do different things. And because my whole thing is I'm mainly here for the time trial-esque nature of it, and the great feeling to nail down a perfect run, even if it's not like the fastest. I do enjoy all of them, especially when they work. 06. And then we have my favorite, which is the boost, because it's essentially like it is literally the example of reaction time and path finding, like on the fly. Unleashed was the example of that with its long ass level designs. Generations is like objectively the best that's gotten mechanically. Shadow Gens is like a mix between Boost and the Open Zone, which is the one after. I'm not going to be talking about that too much. I do enjoy that, but there's only been technically two, realistically only one games with it, so can't say much. But back to the Boost, Shadow Generations mixes the two and is honestly a lot more platform heavy, to the point where it honestly kind of feels like an adventure game sometimes. Even games that either didn't do it great or were different. Like, I love Lost World's parkour system. I think they could do a lot with it. It can definitely add to the flow of stuff. And Forces is probably one of the best ones to speedrun, given all the different ways you have of gaining height or speed in that game. It's just a shame that like all the levels are done in like 50 seconds. So yeah, but I do enjoy the sense of speed for all of them. Oh yeah, and colors is something. I enjoy colors, but there's not really much to say, especially since I talked about all the other ones. But yeah, no, I really enjoy that formula. I think it's a really good speed and reaction focused type of game. And then finally we have the Open Zone. Like I said, there won't be much to say here. It's like it sounds, essentially open world Sonic. You do whatever you need to in order to get to the point where you get a Chaos Emerald. You get all 7 Chaos Emeralds to finish the island, at least in Frontiers. However they choose to do that in the next Open Zone game, whenever that is, I'm hoping next year. I'm hoping we see it this year, and I'm hoping it comes out next year, but we'll see. It's essentially like you get to the destination however you feel like. And I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed every part of it. Like, the traversing the world itself felt like a Sonic stage that you essentially made yourself. That was the whole goal, was to have it so that traversing the island felt like a Sonic stage no matter how you were doing it. It had combat, which I really enjoyed. Again, it was janky. It was the first one, but like, I think with a few tweaks, it could be a really good system to do and to interact with. There's side content. You got the cyberspace stages, which also in concept are really cool, and I think a lot of them are pretty fun to play. It's just, you know, just switching up a little bit of the cyberspace physics and doing more with the theming itself. But otherwise, I really enjoyed that. And the combat, you know, fighting all these different types of enemies and all that. And then there's like mini games. You got the slot machines. You got fishing with Big, which is how you can get memos and stuff. And the story for Frontiers was, it in itself wasn't really a story, more a collection of character moments, and I think those are the strongest that the series have to offer in that. And yeah, there's also a ton of side games. I won't be too into that, but like recently we had Sonic Racing Cross Worlds and Sonic Rumble. Those are both real good. If you want to count them as side games, I guess you could say the handheld stuff. So Advance and Rush, they're all good. A lot of them. There's going to be some that are kind of bad, but that's to be expected, not just with Sonic, but with the series that's going on as well. But yeah, I think that's everything. Yeah, that's everything. So yeah, happy 35th. This is better than the last one, not by much. And yeah, if there's news or something today, then I'll likely do a video on it. I probably won't stream anything. But yeah, happy 35th. And here's to another 35. Alright, see you around.